I just wanted to talk to you a little bit. I'm also an author, and I've got 6 bilingual books that are out, and this is one of them. And this is this book is about a man who made a difference, a person who made a difference in the community, because before he did what he did, the community, you know how people don't speak to one another in their homes, they never talk to their neighbors and all this kind of stuff. And one day there was this thunderstorm, and it felled a tree down, a big tree, and it was blocking the street, and people didn't know what to do with it, and they wanted to chop it up into little pieces and just use it for barbecue. But he's a woodcutter, and his name is Tomas. And he said, just give it to me and I'll make something beautiful. And nobody believed him. And he took his time, and he said, it's going to be a big surprise, and I'm not going to show you until it's done. So he took the wood into big chunks and put it in his tool shed in the backyard, and wouldn't let anybody see what he was doing until he was ready. And then when he was ready, you know, the book just talks about, the book is just about how he's doing it and all this. And then this is when he shows everybody what he's been doing. And of course, this is magical. You know, these big life-sized animals are made out of wood, and brings the people together, the community together. They put up the animals in the park where the tree used to be. They carry the animals all the way across the street, and they set them up in the park, like, and the kids love them. And of course, it brings the community together. And so I tell the kids, this is what one person can make a difference, you know. And so there's a couple of conflicts in here where the people from the museum want to buy all the animals for the Museum of Art, and he says no. I'll just donate one piece because it's for the people here in my grandkids and the people in the neighborhood. So he keeps all the animals. So that's one of the books, one of my 6 books. And the inspiration behind that was I worked for a magazine as well, and I still write stories for them. And I interviewed this man, his name is Ralph, and he's a real woodcutter here in San Antonio. And there was a real thunderstorm, and there was a real tree that fell, and there was a real tree that blocked the driveway, and they didn't know what to do with it, and they were going to chop it up into little pieces. And Ralph the woodcutter said, let me make something, give it to me, I'll take it home. And what he made were Christian, crosses and Holy Spirit gloves and all this, and sold them for all over Texas for $10 a piece, and I have some. And he made $40,000. So he donated it to Habitat for Humanity. So I interviewed him for a magazine article, and then I thought, well, maybe this will make a good story for children, you know. I'll just change it a little bit. And so I got his permission and got his quote. Oh, I love the quote because he kept telling the people that just wanted to chop up the tree. He says, no. They said, what do you want to do with this ugly old tree? It's just ugly. And he said, no. The beauty of the tree is not on the outside, but on the inside. You'll see. So I tell the kids that, you know, it's not what's on the outside, but what's on the inside. So anyway, that's one of the books. But I wanted to also just bring up briefly, I am working on a historical fiction. I was very interested in your story, Marie, because I love historical fiction as well. I love to do research. I'm working on, my work in progress is a novel set in the late 1930s. And it's about the pecan shelling industry here in San Antonio back then and what they went through. It's kind of resembles those sweatshops in New York in the early 1900s, you know, that they had terrible conditions, terrible working conditions, low wages and all this kind of stuff. And this really happened, and I did a lot of research on that, and found out that this is one of the articles in the paper. I went to the library, the downtown library, the central library, and they had a lot of information on the pecan shelling industry and the strikes. And girls as young, or people as young as 14 were jailed, beaten and jailed because they were on strike My character is a 14-year-old girl who doesn't want to be there in the first place. She wants to be in school, but she has to help her family because her father dies. So at first she's very reluctant, she hates being there. She just wants out. But then she starts making friends, and then she sees the outrageous conditions that they're living under. And she's shy. She's a shy person at first, but then she gets involved in all these things that are happening, and the rallies and the strikes and all this. And her stepmother, of course, tells her, just stay out of it, but she doesn't. So it's kind of like coming of age novel with social justice, and it's about a 14-year-old character who has to grow up quickly, and after she's jailed, her whole, she changes, and it's a big coming of age type story. So I've done a lot of research on it, and I'm working on it right now. It's a work in progress, and I've interviewed some of my relatives were pink controllers back then, so I've interviewed them, in person. And just done a lot of research, which I've really, really enjoyed. So that's what I'm working on right now. That's my novel.